All right, everybody, my name is Miss Briggs, and I'm going to be showing you how to use a triple beam balance. A triple beam balance is used to measure mass. It measures it in grams because for science we use the metric system. Unlike the United States, generally in the United States we use what's called the standard system, the English system. That's kind of an old system, and most other countries have switched over to metric system, and that is what we will be using today. This is the triple beam balance. It's called the triple beam balance because it has 3 different beams, all measuring different places, I guess you could say. So when you were in elementary school, you learned about the tens place, the ones place, the hundreds place. That's what these different beams measure. So we have the ones place, and these little ticks are decimal places. We have the hundreds place here, and we have the tens place back here in the back. I don't know why it went. So to measure something, we're going to be measuring a few different just normal school supplies today. To measure something, we are going to start by zeroing out the scale. So we're going to bring everything over to 0. And it should fall on the 0 there. From here, let's start with something small. We will just be using this small dry erase marker. So we're going to put that there. The very first thing we want to do is move the hundreds place. When you move it over, you want to make sure it sits in the groove to be sure that it's actually where it's supposed to be. Now when I moved that hundreds place, this dropped down below the 0. So that means that we went too far over. So that means we didn't want to move the hundreds place. That was too heavy. Let's try the tens place. Let's move that over to the 10. All right, again, it hit the groove, but it dropped down too low, so let's move that back to 0. So that means we have 0 hundreds, 0 tens, now the hundreds place, or now the ones place, I'm sorry. We're gonna move this over and watch our end, so we'll keep moving. I'll go a little more. Okay, I went too far. And we just keep moving it until we hit the 0, until this line lines up with the 0. And that looks about right there. So if you look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths. So it's 6.5. Your answer here is 6.5 grams for our little guy. Dry erase. Now trying something a little heavier. Again, we start with the largest one, which is our hundreds place. That was too far. Moving back, still too far. Now that was too light, so we have to be somewhere here. 200 is too far. So 100 is too light, which means that we're going to move the tens place. So 170 is too heavy. So we'll go 160 and then we'll move our ones place. So I'm watching this line to get it lined up with the 0. Okay, so from here, we'll say it's 166 grams and 2 tenths. So 166.2 would be how much this stapler weighs. So go home, try it out, and see what you can come up with. Well, not home, maybe in your science class. See what you can come up with. Try some measurements. Hi there. Today we are going to be doing some metric conversions. To start, I just wanted to say that I adapted a worksheet from sciencespot.net. So this is not my worksheet, but I have adapted it to do this conversion. So I'm going to move up here. Let me pause here. Starters, we have an acronym for remembering how to do metric conversions. The acronym is King, Henry, dyed by drinking chocolate milk. Sometimes people say drinking chunky milk, which kind of makes more sense, but I'm used to the chocolate milk version. King stands for the prefix kilo. Henry stands for hecto. Dyed stands for deca. By stands for the basic unit, whatever basic unit we're using. Drinking stands for deci. Chocolate is centi, and milk is milli. So as we convert, we start by, we put the number in here, and then we move left or right. When we move left, we move the decimal point to the left. When we move right, we move the decimal point to the right. So here's an example. I'm going to scroll down. So I want to convert 1,000 milligrams to grams. So my base unit is going to be grams. Move that right up there. All right. So we're going to start with the 1,000 milligrams over here in the milli section. Oops, I do not have my correct thing. 1,000.0. That goes in the milli section because we're starting with milligrams. Then we're going to move one to the left because we're trying to get all the way over here to the basic unit, the gram. We're going to move one to the left, and we're going to take that same 1,000 milligrams, 1,000.0, same 1,000 milligrams, but now because we've moved to the left, we have to shift our decimal point over to the left. So now we're at 100 milligrams. Now again, we're going to move to the left one more time. And from 100 milligrams, 100 centigrams, we're going to move to the tens. Now we have 10 decigrams. Now we just need to move one more time to get to where we want to be at grams. And we're going to go from 10 and move the decimal over one more time. That's 1 gram. So 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. So here we would put 1. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to X these out with milliliters. So our basic liter is, our basic unit is the liter. And we are starting with 1 liter. And this time we're going to be moving to the right. So I'm going to grab this, put another thing here. We have just 1 liter, 1.0. Now, to move over to the right, we are going to move the decimal over as well. So starting with 1.0, since we moved to the right, we move the decimal to the right. So now we're at 10. When we move to the right again, we're at 10, but we want to move it over again. So that puts us at 100. And again, we're trying to get all the way over to milli, so that puts us over here. And then we go from 100.0 to 1,000. Those were both pretty simple. We went from milli to the base unit for grams, and then from the base unit to milli for liters. Let's see if we can find one that's a little more challenging. Oh, and let me put this here. 1,000 milliliters. Let's find one that doesn't have the actual base unit to it. Here we go. This one doesn't have a base unit. We're going 160 centimeters to millimeters. 160 centimeters to millimeters. So Let's get rid of these. Our base unit is meters, although we're not going to the actual base. Okay, so starting from centimeters, we're at 160.0. 160.0. Now to move to the right once, we want to move to millimeters. So we went from 160, but we want to move our decimal over 1 to the right. So now we have 1600. So our answer would be 1600 millimeters. 1600 millimeters. Pretty simple. This ladder method is a great way to do it. You can also just write it out. You don't have to have it in a ladder shape, but if you just write out the King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, you can very easily see where to put each thing. I hope that helped with your metric conversions, and have a great day.